Welcome to another deep dive into the fascinating world of United States coins, where every small detail can make the difference between spare change and a small fortune. Today we are going to take a very close look at the 1980 Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin and explore its history, background, and the current market value, which has surprised collectors and enthusiasts alike, reaching a staggering $79,493 in recent evaluations. The story of the Washington quarter begins long before 1980. Back in 1932, when the United States was preparing to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, there was a need for a new coin design that would honor the first president of the nation, and the Washington quarter was introduced originally as a commemorative design, but it soon became a permanent feature in circulation. The coin was designed by John Flanagan, whose depiction of George Washington's profile on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse became one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage history. As decades passed, the Washington quarter went through several changes, and by 1980 the coins were struck not in silver but in a copper nickel-clad composition due to the rising costs of silver in the 1960s and 1970s. The 1980 Washington quarter therefore was made of a copper core, with outer layers of nickel, giving it a silvery look while remaining durable for circulation purposes. The Philadelphia Mint, represented by the P Mint mark, played a major role in striking millions of these coins for circulation, but even in such massive production, rare varieties and special conditions can make certain coins stand out as extraordinary treasures. The 1980 P Washington quarter is not just an ordinary quarter in the eyes of collectors. Certain examples have been found with exceptional quality and eye appeal. Coins that were preserved carefully without scratches, contact marks, or heavy wear are classified as mint state gems. Some were graded by professional grading services at very high levels such as MS66, MS67, or even higher, and these coins command a premium far above face value in the numismatic market. This is where the story of value begins to take shape. In general circulation, a 1980 P quarter may only be worth 25 cents, but when examined under proper grading standards, its value skyrockets. Collectors are often willing to pay hundreds or even thousands for a quarter that has perfect luster, sharp strike, and no imperfections. Recently, a particularly outstanding specimen of the 1980 P Washington quarter in pristine condition made headlines when it was sold and valued at an astounding $79,493. This record has placed the coin among the modern rarities that remind us why careful attention to detail in coin collecting matters so much now. Let us take a closer look at the historical and cultural background of the year 1980 itself. America was undergoing economic struggles, high inflation, and global tensions, yet coins continued to be produced as usual in massive quantities at the Philadelphia Mint, with more than 635 million Washington quarters struck that year. One might assume none would stand out, yet hidden among these countless coins are those select few preserved in exceptional states of perfection that have now become highly sought after by collectors. What makes such coins valuable is a combination of rarity, condition, and demand. When a coin is found with a flawless surface and vibrant shine, it may achieve what collectors call a top population grade, meaning only a handful exist at that quality. This extreme rarity, paired with the popularity of Washington quarters, drives auction prices into the tens of thousands. The 1980 P Washington quarter reaching nearly $80,000 is a testament to how collectors prize perfection and history in one package. Let us also reflect on the design itself, which continues to captivate people. The obverse features the portrait of George Washington facing left, his hair tied back in a colonial style with the word Liberty inscribed above his head, and the motto "In God We Trust" to the left. The date 1980 is inscribed below, and the mint mark piece sits just beside the portrait on the obverse. The reverse design features a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows with two olive branches beneath, symbolizing both strength and peace. This design remained in use until 1998, making it one of the longest-running designs on American coinage. Collectors often note that the Philadelphia Mint in 1980 did not produce proof coins, unlike the San Francisco Mint, which was responsible for special proof issues. Instead, the P Mint mark coins were intended for everyday commerce, yet because of the sheer scale of production, only a very small fraction survived in untouched condition. This is why searching through rolls, bags, and collections can sometimes yield a gem, a perfect coin that holds extraordinary value today. Beyond condition, there are also interesting varieties and errors to be found among 1980 quarters. Some display off-center strikes where the design is shifted slightly, others may have doubled dies where certain parts of the lettering or portrait appear doubled, and still others may have planchet errors where the metal blank itself had flaws. Such varieties can command additional premiums. Depending on rarity, collectors often scour through these details to uncover hidden treasures among what appear to be ordinary coins. Now, when we speak of the current market value, we must understand that numismatics is not just about numbers, it is also about passion, history, and the pursuit of something rare. The auction houses and online platforms where these coins are sold bring together collectors from around the world, all eager to own a piece of history. In the case of the 1980 Washington quarter that reached $79,493, the coin was graded at a top-tier mint state condition by a leading grading service, making it one of the finest known examples for that year and mint mark. If you are wondering how you can find or identify such a coin, the key lies in careful examination using a magnifier or a jeweler's loupe. Look for coins that have sharp details, especially in Washington's hair curls and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Check that the fields, the flat surfaces around the design are clean without scratches, and that the luster shines across the entire coin without dullness. Storing coins properly in protective holders away from air, moisture, and handling can preserve them in top quality and perhaps secure a fortune in the future. Another aspect of the story is the emotional connection collectors have with quarters. Many grew up finding them in change, collecting them in albums, or chasing after state quarters in the late 1990s. This nostalgia adds to the desire to own earlier issues like the 1980 in their best forms. The quarter has been a workhorse coin in American commerce for decades, yet when one realizes that a single example can reach nearly $80,000, it transforms from common currency into a historic artifact of great value. The lesson we take from this coin is clear: never underestimate the power of condition, rarity, and demand when it comes to collecting coins. An ordinary-looking coin in your pocket may just be worth a fortune if it happens to be preserved in gem condition, or if it carries a unique variety or error. The 1980 Washington quarter is proof that treasures can be hidden in plain sight, and that history is not just preserved in museums, but sometimes jingles in our pockets. As we move further into the world of collecting, we continue to see how coins like the 1980 Washington quarter not only reflect economic history but also inspire modern collectors to search, learn, and preserve today's coins for future generations. The record sale of $79,493 has set a benchmark, and who knows, perhaps in the years to come another example may even break this record, bringing even greater attention to this remarkable coin. So, as you finish listening to this story, remember to always check your change, look carefully at the details of your coins, and appreciate the artistry and history behind them. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, your journey with coins can be rewarding both in knowledge and in value. The 1980 Washington quarter stands as a shining example of how even the most common coins can hold secrets of extraordinary worth. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the 1980 mint mark Washington $quarter coin, its rich history, and its incredible current market value of $79,493. If you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to continue exploring the stories behind other coins, because every coin has a story to tell, and some may just change your life. The story of the Washington quarter is one of the most fascinating chapters in American coinage history, and the 2022 mint mark Washington $quarter coin has become one of the most talked about coins among collectors, enthusiasts, and even ordinary people who happen to find one in their pocket change. Today we are going to take a deep dive into its origins, design history, production details, and the surprising current market value that has stunned so many. This is not just a coin, it is a piece of living history, a token of artistry, and for some, a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. Let us begin by stepping back to understand why the Washington quarter exists in the first place. The $quarter has been around since the 1790s, when the United States Mint first began issuing coins under the direction of George Washington himself. For over a century, the quarter featured different designs such as the draped bust, the seated liberty, the barber design, and of course the standing liberty, which was issued from 1916 until 1930. By the end of that era, the government decided to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, which would take place in 1932. A new quarter was commissioned to celebrate the founding father and his legacy. The sculptor John Flanagan was chosen to design the coin. His work presented a left-facing portrait of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle with wings spread on the reverse. This design was never intended to be permanent, but it became one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. For decades, the Washington quarter became a fixture of everyday commerce and a symbol of American strength. From silver issues before 1965 to clad copper nickel issues afterward, the quarter evolved with the times but never lost its recognizable face. Fast forward to the 21st century. By the early 2000s, the quarter became the centerpiece of massive commemorative programs such as the 50-state quarters, the District of Columbia and Territories quarters, and then the America the Beautiful series, which showcased national parks. Millions of people began collecting coins from pocket change again because of these special designs. When that program ended in 2021, the United States Mint announced a brand new series called the American Women Quarters Program to run from 2022 through 2025. This program would honor historic women who made significant contributions to the nation. The 2022 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin is part of this groundbreaking series. The D Mint mark means that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the most productive coin facilities in the country. The obverse side of the coin features a brand new design of George Washington. This portrait was not by John Flanagan but instead based on a 1931 sculpture by Laura Garden Fraser, a renowned female artist who was originally passed over when the Treasury first chose Flanagan in the 1930s. Many historians now see this as a long overdue recognition of her artistry. Washington's bust faces right this time rather than left, offering a fresh perspective while still maintaining the dignity of the founding father. On the reverse, each 2022 quarter features one of 5 remarkable women who helped shape American history. These include Maya Angelou, the celebrated poet and civil rights activist, Dr. Sally Ride, the first American woman in space, Wilma Mankiller, the first female principal chief of the Cherokee Nation, Nina Otero Warren, a leader in the suffrage movement, and Anna May Wong, the first Chinese-American Hollywood film star. Each design tells a story and carries deep cultural significance. Collectors immediately began to notice the artistic details and the symbolic power of these coins. Now let us talk about the 2022 D Mint Mark quarter in terms of mintage and circulation. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of coins in 2022, and at first glance most people would assume that the coin is common and worth only 25 cents. However, the real story lies in the rare varieties, the errors, and the perfect condition coins that have surfaced. Coin grading is a key factor in determining market value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless specimen known as mint state or proof. A 2022 D quarter in average circulated condition might be worth face value, but one in mint state 67, 68, or better can be highly sought after. Collectors and auction houses have already recorded remarkable sales for certain 2022 D quarters, particularly those featuring sharp strikes, clean surfaces, and strong luster. Some errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, and die clashes have also been identified, adding to the excitement. A doubled die can show up in the lettering or the portrait, and collectors pay premiums for such unique mistakes. The most surprising fact is that certain graded examples of the 2022 D Mint Mark Washington quarter have reached astonishing prices. The current market has seen coins in pristine mint state 70 conditions selling for tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, the record so far is a reported valuation of $51,293. Imagine finding a coin in your pocket change worth that much. This is why collectors scour their coins so carefully, examining every detail under magnification, sending them for professional grading, and hoping to strike gold in the world of numismatics. But how can a coin minted so recently be worth more than a brand new car or even a luxury vacation? The answer lies in rarity of condition. Even though millions were produced, very few survive in absolute perfect condition with no blemishes, scratches, or weak spots. Professional grading services certify these coins and assign them the top grade, which drives demand. Combine that with the historic significance of the American Women Quarters program and the long-awaited recognition of Laura Garden Fraser's Washington portrait, and you have a recipe for skyrocketing value. Collectors are not just paying for a piece of metal, they are paying for history, for artistry, for rarity, and for the bragging rights of owning one of the finest examples known. In auctions, bidders compete fiercely, driving the price higher and higher until only one passionate collector remains. That is how the current market value of $51,293 was reached for the 2022 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. If you are wondering whether you might have one of these valuable coins, here is what you need to know. First, check for the D Mint mark, which will appear on the obverse side near Washington's portrait. Then carefully examine the coin for any unusual features such as doubling or striking errors. If the coin looks exceptionally sharp and flawless, consider submitting it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Even a high mint state 66 or 67 coin can fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. It is also important to store coins properly to preserve their condition. Avoid handling them with bare fingers as oils can damage the surface. Place them in protective holders and keep them away from humidity and extreme temperatures. Coin collecting is not only about money but also about preserving history for future generations. The 2022 D quarter is still new, and its story is still unfolding. Values may rise even further as collectors continue to compete for top quality examples. Future generations may look back and see this coin as a turning point in American numismatics, when new designs and new voices entered the coinage landscape. As we reflect on this journey, from the origins of the Washington Quarter in 1932 to the modern era of the American Women Quarters program, one thing becomes clear. Coins are more than small pieces of metal. They are storytellers, carrying images of leaders, heroes, and cultural icons. They connect us to the past and inspire us for the future. The 2022 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin is a perfect example of how a humble 25-cent piece can capture the imagination of millions and command a value of over $51,000 in today's market. So the next time you receive change at a store, take a moment to look closely at the quarters. You never know if you might be holding one of these treasures in your hand. The thrill of the hunt, the history behind the design, and the potential for great value all make coin collecting one of the most rewarding hobbies in the world. And with that, we close this long exploration into the fascinating history, design, and incredible market value of the 2022 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. Welcome back to our channel. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in American history, the 1966 No Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. This coin has become a legend among collectors and enthusiasts not only for its place in the history of United States coinage, but also for the incredible value it can command in the market today, with some examples reaching a staggering $4 million. So sit back, relax, and let us take you on a journey through the history, the design, the minting process, and the present-day value of this rare $quarter coin. The story of the Washington Quarter begins in 1932 when the United States was preparing to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The idea was to honor him with a coin that would replace the standing Liberty Quarter, which had been in circulation since 1916. After a design competition, the United States Mint selected the portrait of George Washington created by sculptor John Flanagan. His design showed the profile of Washington facing left with the word Liberty inscribed above and the motto "In God We Trust" to the left of his neck. On the reverse side, the design displayed an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, symbolizing both strength and peace. By 1965, the United States Mint faced a crisis in coinage. Silver prices were soaring and it became too expensive to continue striking quarters, dimes, and half dollars and 90% silver as had been the tradition. In response, Congress passed the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from the quarter and dime and reduced the silver content of the half dollar. Starting in 1965, quarters were struck in a clad composition with outer layers of copper and nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. The change was necessary to keep coinage affordable and practical for everyday use. Another important change occurred at this time. To simplify production and reduce confusion during the transition, the United States Mint decided to strike coins without mint marks from 1965 through 1967. That meant whether a coin was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it carried no mint mark. This is why the 1966 Washington quarter bears no mint mark regardless of where it was produced. For collectors, this detail has created a unique historical context. These coins marked a new era in American coinage, no longer struck in silver and no longer distinguished by mint marks during that short period. The 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter may at first seem like an ordinary coin. Millions were produced and entered circulation. But as with many coins, rarity and value come not only from how many were made but also from how many have survived in pristine condition and from whether certain era varieties exist. For the 1966 quarter, the most valuable pieces are those that were struck with exceptional sharpness on high-quality planchets, and have been preserved without wear or damage. When a coin from this year survives in mint state condition or even in proof-like appearance, its value can skyrocket, especially at auction where collectors compete fiercely for top examples. To understand why one of these coins could reach a market value of $4 million, we have to look at a few key factors. First is the condition. Grading plays a massive role in determining the worth of any coin. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC examine a coin carefully and assign it a grade based on strike quality, luster, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. A coin graded at the highest levels, such as Mint State 67 or Mint State 68, becomes an extreme rarity because so few survive in such perfect condition. The second factor is era varieties. During the mid-1960s, when the mint was under intense pressure to produce enough coinage to meet demand, quality control was not always perfect. This led to the creation of a number of interesting and collectible era coins. Some 1966 quarters may display double die obverse errors where the lettering or the portrait of Washington shows clear doubling. Others may show off center strikes, clipped planchets, or striking mistakes that give them a unique appearance. Collectors prize these era coins and they often bring in large sums at auction. The third factor is historical significance. The 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter symbolizes a turning point in the history of American coinage. It represents the moment when silver was removed from the quarter forever and when mint marks temporarily disappeared. For collectors who value history as much as rarity, this makes the coin even more desirable. Now let us imagine you are a collector searching through your change drawer or an old coin jar, and you happen to come across a 1966 quarter. At first glance it might look ordinary, but upon closer inspection you notice that it has an incredibly sharp strike, bright luster, and no signs of wear. If that coin were sent for grading and it came back as one of the finest known examples, it could fetch a life-changing amount of money at auction. Some of these coins have been reported to reach values as high as $4 million when sold to passionate collectors or investors. Auction houses have played a huge role in highlighting the value of the 1966 no mint mark quarter. When a rare coin of this type is presented at a major auction, it attracts attention not just from collectors in the United States, but also from around the world. The bidding can become intense as wealthy buyers compete to add such a unique treasure to their collection. Stories of these record-breaking sales inspire everyday people to check their pocket change and to search through inherited coin collections in hopes of finding a hidden gem. Another aspect that adds to the mystique of the 1966 no mint mark quarter is the clad composition itself. For centuries, coins had been struck in precious metals. The move to copper-nickel clad marked a cultural and economic shift. Many people at the time were skeptical and even resistant to using coins that no longer contained silver. Yet over time these coins became the norm, and today we hardly think twice about it. But for those who appreciate history, the first years of clad coinage carry special importance. Collectors also value the 1966 quarter because it sits in the heart of the transition years 1965 through 1967, when no mint marks appeared on coins. After 1967, mint marks returned and coins could once again be identified by their place of origin. That makes the 1966 quarter part of a short-lived era that will never be repeated. The scarcity of high-grade examples from this period ensures their long-term desirability and potential for appreciating value. As we look at the coin more closely, the obverse side with Washington's profile remains largely unchanged since its debut in 1932. The inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" along with the date 1966 remind us of the continuity of American values and traditions. On the reverse side, the eagle design reinforces the themes of strength and peace. Even though the composition had changed, the symbolism remained powerful and timeless. Today, the market for rare coins has grown tremendously. Collectors new and old are drawn to the excitement of finding and owning a piece of history. The 1966 no-mint mark Washington quarter has become one of the most talked about coins of its generation. The idea that a simple coin once worth 25 cents could now be valued at millions captures the imagination of people everywhere. It is proof that history, artistry, and rarity can combine to create extraordinary value. So if you are ever searching through your change, keep an eye out for quarters from the mid-1960s. Examine them closely under good lighting. Look for sharp details, luster, and unusual errors. If you think you have found something special, consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service. Who knows, your coin could be the next $1,000,000 discovery. In conclusion, the 1966 no-mint mark Washington $quarter coin is more than just money. It is a symbol of a pivotal moment in American history when the nation transitioned away from silver coinage. It is a reminder of how small changes in minting practices can have lasting effects. And for collectors, it is one of the crown jewels of 20th century coinage, a coin that can reach values as high as $4 million and beyond. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history and numismatics. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories about rare and valuable coins. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and maybe you will be the one to uncover the next great treasure hiding in plain sight.